All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Lunch with Doug. I'm your host, Dangerous Doug Harper. Today we're going to be talking about the Weltmer Institute of Suggestive Therapeutics, founded by Sidney Abram Weltmer. Why are we talking about this? It's a historical place in Nevada, Missouri, and recently the Historic Society has now a traveling exhibit all about it, and they're going to be having a grand opening on the exhibit at the museum later this month. But I thought I'd catch up to speed and tell you the story, why this guy's so cool. And you're going to hear all about that today on Lunch with Doug. This episode of Lunch with Doug is produced by the Music Exerbia Project and made possible by the Boutique Marketplace at 500 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. Karen McNair, the friendly neighborhood nutritionist, at 269-267-4644. The Hairy Frog Graphics, 150 North Commercial Street in fabulous Nevada, Missouri, or call them at 417-381-1077. The Second Edition Shop, located at 500 East Cherry Street in fantastic Nevada, Missouri. The Main Square Cafe, located on the square, 121 North Main Street, Nevada, Missouri. The Gamers Fusion, located at 617 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri. Impact Graphics, located at 14144 East Highway 54, or call them at 417-283-2056. The Nevada Tobacco and Liquor Store, located at 125 West Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. The Nevada Coin, 123 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri. I'm your host, Dangerous Doug Harper. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with me. The Weltmer Institute of Suggestive Therapeutics was founded by Sidney Abram Weltmer on February 19, 1897 in Nevada, Missouri. The Institute practiced Weltmerism, a kind of healing using laying of hands combined with the power of suggestion and hypnosis. It was devoted to mind cures of illnesses and ailments not susceptible to other treatment. Weltmer had developed his ideas as a young man while purportedly curing himself of tuberculosis, then a disease without a cure. The Institute operated until 1933, being dissolved by Weltmer's son shortly after the senior man's death in 1930. All right, folks, that's an overview of the man, the myth, Sidney Weltmer, and the Weltmer Institute. I am going to give you some of my own personal thoughts on this after reading and kind of sort of being obsessed with this guy because he was really cool and probably one of the most successful men in Nevada throughout the years, and one of the most biggest causes of like tourism and travel to Nevada, Missouri. So the Institute, it was very popular. It was so popular, it attracted so many patients and attendees that the class of railroad had to add trains to serve the town. It also generated huge amounts of mail, because they had a treatment by mail course, and they had some books that they had published, and people would put in orders for those. And they also had some various pamphlets. They had a newsletter, a number of things you could subscribe to, these things. And this was so much to the extent that the town's post office was upgraded to first class, and a new, larger post office was built. Of course, that building still stands in Nevada, and they're refurbishing that building. Now they're going to make a maker's market in there, and that's very cool. It served as the sheriff's office for a while in jail, but it was post office for years. Okay, so the Weltmer Institute positively affected the town's economy, as I was talking before, attracting other psychotherapists and clairvoyants, and all these different types of healers were coming to Nevada, and people were coming to be healed so much that it caused many hotels to be made, and then just your average person was renting out their extra rooms because the hotels were always full. So if you had an extra room, you'd rent it out, make a little extra money because people were always needing a place to stay because they were coming to the Weltmer Institute. And it was just a fantastic thing for the town of Nevada. Weltmer's healing method was strongly criticized by doctors in the early 1900s, though, and they said it was ineffective voodoo and charlatanry, but the Institute continued to operate at high capacity with a staff of more than 120, and most of them were stenographers and typists because they were pumping out these newsletters and all this information. Okay, so Sidney Abram Weltmer, he had begun his mind cure career by taking an associate on the lecture circuit and demonstrating the power of mesmerism, which he had taught himself to practice. Weltmer believed his practice could be the basis of a business and founded the Weltmer Institute in Nevada, Missouri in 1897. By 1898, Weltmer bought the 17-room mansion to use for the Institute. It functioned as a boarding house for the patients who had a 10-day stay and the course of treatment, and he charged $100 for this. Well, I mean, that was like a lot of money back then. He had like very important people coming, queens coming, all types of people from other countries and everything. This guy was just fantastic. He had, in fact, the marching band wrote a song about him, and so it was published at the time. So if you can find the old sheet music, there would be sheet music for this. And once a prominent band actually came through and marched through in front of his place and actually played the song. So this is so just some crazy excitement over this guy. He continued to expand his practice and developed his business, lecturing to several hundred people in the Weltmer Auditorium, and then sponsoring the Weltmer Quartet to entertain at both local events and the 1905 convention of the New Thought Federation. He developed his mail order business of classes and treatment by mail. His book, How to Make Magnetic Healing Pay, published in 1901, Weltmer wrote that a thorough knowledge of magnetic healing alone will not bring success financially, but a knowledge of the business side of the science is necessary as well. At its height, the Institute treated 400 people a day, generating a daily income of $3,600. There was another statistic I had read once where he also in the mail was getting about $3,500 a day in the mail as well. So you're looking at turn of the century, a company producing, upwards of more than $7,000 a day. That is insane. Insane amounts of money. At one time, it employed 17 healers, several assistant healers, a physician, and more than, 110 stenographers and typists, and the latter to process the mail again and generate the treatment letters. After the closure of the Institute in 1933, the mansion was sold to Milster Funeral Home, being used for that purpose for decades. And then when Milster went out, the family video bought the property, demolished it, and built the new video store. And after that, now it's a dentist office there. That family video building became a dentist office. So that's what's happening on the property there. It was at the corner of Ash and Austin in Nevada, Missouri. That's kind of an overview of the guy. There's just so much more interesting stuff to his life and all that. But you're going to be able to learn lots of that if you attend the exhibit. I would encourage you to join the Historical Society or just pay the fee to go see it the one time. But it's only $20 a year, and you can go to the museum as many times as you'd like. So I would encourage you to join the Vernon County Historical Society and take advantage of touring the museum. There's some other great exhibits in there as well. And this one will be there, grand opening later this month. But it will be a traveling exhibit. After it's there for a while, then other places can have it. So it will travel all over and share the excitement of Sidney Weltmer. And I must add this note to you that I'm so interested to see. Now, last I knew it was as late as 2010, and then they may still be doing this. They were still publishing some of his books, and these books are still available on Amazon because many of them, their copyrights became public domain. So these companies that produce old books were producing them because there was a high demand for his, especially the Healing Hand is one of his very popular ones that is still very well circulated and read today. So this guy was just quite a guy. Yeah, and he was doing stuff that was, now it's common practice for like chiropractors and, massage therapists and your acupuncture and acupressure. He was doing these kind of techniques. But back then it was just unheard of, so it was very, a lot of people were skeptical of it. But now it's a lot of the things that he was doing is very common practice. So that as well, but his unique Weltmerism, where he was laying of hands and power of suggestion and hypnosis, that was very unique to him, and it was very, very successful. So, interesting guy. I would, again, encourage you to check out the Vernon County Historical Society, the Bushwhacker Museum, and check out the exhibit. Read more about him online. Maybe buy one of his books. Interesting guy. So, that is today's story time about the Weltmer Institute of Suggestive Therapeutics and Mr. Sidney Abram Weltmer himself. That's all for today. Thanks for spending your lunchtime with me. This episode of Lunch with Doug is produced by the Music Exerbia Project and made possible by the Boutique Marketplace at 500 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. Karen McNair, the friendly neighborhood nutritionist, at 269-267-4644. The Harry Frog Graphics, 150 North Commercial Street in fabulous Nevada, Missouri, or call them at 417-381-1077. The Second Edition Shop, located at 500 East Cherry Street in fantastic Nevada, Missouri. The Main Square Cafe, located on the square, 121 North Main Street, Nevada, Missouri. The Gamers Fusion, located at 617 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri. Impact Graphics, located at 14144 East Highway 54, or call them at 417-283-2056. The Nevada Tobacco and Liquor Store, located at 125 West Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. The Nevada Coin, 123 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri.